Hello there, I'm Sir Classy and welcome to another tutorial on SC2s, and in this tutorial I'm going to be using stock plugins to remake REMA's new single that just dropped, Calm Down. Yeah, only stock plugins to show you that you can really make good music whether you have third-party plugins or stock plugins, which is what I've always been teaching about. It doesn't really matter whether you're mixing, mastering, making beats. What matters most is the technique, and which is what you learn even much more when you sign up for my one-on-one coaching class through Zoom, right? Show you step by step what you need to do to make really good music. And the lessons last from 4 to 6 weeks, depends, right? So just hit the link in the description below to fill up a form, and I'm going to reply to you promptly, all right? And if you can afford one-on-one lessons, you can join the Telegram community. It's free, but the best value you're going to get from it is from the one-on-one coaching program. With all that being said, let's get started. Man, that was the longest intro I've ever done on this channel. So we're going to listen to the beat first of all before I break it up, okay? So I'm going to play the beat. Let's listen. All right, so that's pretty much the beats, right, and how it goes. And I'm going to show you how all the parts came together, okay? So first of all, we're going to look at the lead melody, right, which is also kind of like the chord progression of this song. It's mostly an acoustic guitar, right, with layered with an electric jazz guitar. This is how it sounds. So for my guitars, right, I use the direct wave instrument. You can find it right here. When you open up your browser panel, right, just come to packs, right, and when you come to packs, you come to instruments in your packs on FL Studio. And then you can see bass, guitar, keyboard, orchestra, and so much. So yeah, so this is where they are, right? So you can see this is the sound, and it sounds pretty good, right? And then also with my jazz guitar, the original key for this song is B major, I think. So I just transposed it so I could play it on key C. That's why I selected this, right click to select this right here. So you can see that's all I use, no third-party plugins. And yes, they do have effects running through them. Like for example, this guy right here has an EQ just to take out some of the high end, to make it not too sharp in the ear, right? Has a compressor running through it, but not really compressing anything, just to increase the loudness of the sound. And we also have jazz guitar number 7, I think. There's this guitar right here. It has more cuts in the high end, right, to make it sound really dull, and then with a little bit of reverb to give up that feel. Since we don't have main chords playing, to give you more of that lush sound. And this is how it sounds together. So let me turn them up so you hear them individually. So this is the main sound. And then it was layered with this. And then with this finally to give it that low end support, because in the beats I could hear kind of like a strum going on in the guitar section. So let me turn it up the other to so you hear what I'm saying. So on together, they just sound like this. And yeah, if you notice, right, my velocity, right, they look all scattered, right? They don't look straight. So this helps create a more realistic tone with your sound. So it's best to just go in there and just tweak it, play with it, just make it random, right? So that it sounds more interesting or realistic. Or a simple tool you can use to do it when you press alternate R, right? Your randomizer alternates R. When you press alternate R, right, it's going to randomize, and make sure you select bipolar so that it doesn't split it all around the FL. So when it's not selected, it's going to just scatter it in your channel. So we just make sure your bipolar is selected, and then you just randomize the velocity. You can see that happening, and then you just accept it, right? That is a more straightforward and easier way to get it done if you don't want to do it manually. And you can also just select a note to, maybe if one note is too loud, you can just go in there and adjust accordingly. So the next element I played here was the bass. I used Morphine for the bass. Morphine is also the name of the preset is Bass Smoothie MC, right? It's in the bass section of the Morphine presets, and these are the notes to play it. And then when I play with the melody, so it's important when you're playing your bass line, right? It matches the notes of your chord progression, right? It's very, very important. So it sounds more accurate tone wise and the feel. Okay. So the next element here is an 808 bass, which just comes in and goes, and also played with Flex. Yes, Flex has good 808 in the mobile tune 808 bass preset in installed packs. You can get really good 808 sounds there. And my favorite is the synth clean sound, right? And this is how it just sounds. And in somewhere in the verse, you can hear this organ coming. So it's just the main chord, right? This is the main chord, the first chord, but in 2 octaves. I just copied it and made sure they're playing 2 octaves. So I had a bit of the body and a bit of the high end, okay? And this is how it sounds really. And I used Morphine also to play it. The KBD SH1 organ. You can find it somewhere here. I don't even know where I got it from anymore, but yeah, that's the preset I used. But it's a stock preset. It's not a patch or anything. So these are the strings for the bridge. So I used the 80s theater under Axon Cityscape in Flex to get the strings. It's more of a synth string than an actual violin or natural sounding string, right? It's more of a synth string. So let's look at the flute right here. I actually built the whole melody before I got into the drums. Drums were the last thing I actually built. So for the flutes, I use Citrus pan flute presets. It has a little bit of that South African piano whistle vibe. But yeah, so let's move on to my favorite part, the drums. So this is how the drums sound. I'm going to solo the drums. Really simple drum pattern. This is a rim shot, another rim shot, a percussion, then this is the kick, and a hand drum. And then when we play it all together, this is how it sounds. And then here towards the second bridge, right in the song, a shaker loop came in. All right, so for the song structure, this beat is really, really simple. We have the intro that lasts um, about 8 bars. Yeah, 8 bars. So make sure it's in bar mode to count it properly. Yes. So 8 bars for the intro, just the drums and the lead guitar melody. Then in the hook, it's 16 bars. Yes. In the first half, there were no bass lines. Then halfway into it, there was a bass line and then a flute melody. And then the bridge, and then the verse. Here we have a verse, which is just another 8 bars. Then we have a bridge, which is 8 bars on its own, which has the strings and this pluck organ melody, and then goes back into the hook, then repeats again to the verse, bridge, hook, and then the outro. The outro here, the drums go out for a while, then it comes back in. With the strings, right? So if you notice, right, after every 8 bars, there's a slight change in sound, right? For example, after these 8 bars, right, there's another 8 bars, and you can see different things played, right? Then here again, another 8 bars, a different, still the same drum and lead melody sound, but different elements came in. Right now we have an 808 and a pluck melody. And then here again, after another 8 bars, right, you can see we have strings coming in, and then here in the hook, after that 8 bars, is back to the um, drums and the lead melody. And into it again, you can see you go back into the strings, the flutes, and the bass, right? And then it just repeats over and over again. So while you're trying to make your song structure interesting, always make sure it's predictable. Like we should be able to predict it. We should feel familiar with it, even though you want to add some excitement by maybe like in this instance here where the drums went missing for a bit. It still feels familiar, okay? It still feels familiar. So you want to make sure your song structure sounds a bit familiar to us. It should not be surprises all the way, okay? It should feel interesting, but at the same time, familiar. So if you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up so other people that need videos like this can easily find it right here on YouTube. I'm Sir Classy. Hit the subscribe button to keep up with more videos like this. Cheers.